Welcome back to Anime Savants, everyone. This week, I am Gwel.
Oh shit, this week I'm Gabby Morrow, baby!
Oh my god. Well, okay.
Even though he took a L.
Oh, I was about to be like, oh, you sure you want to be that nigga?
He took an L this week, but there was some JoJo shit, right?
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Okay, but before we get into that, thank you guys for doing the answers to the question of the week. We got an answer we got an answer from one of our regulars, Binnet Garces. He sent us the merch. He sent us some merch. So, we'll post some of them here as we go through it. But basically, you got some fire ass figures. You got a really nice kid figure. This Vegeta, I don't know where you found this Vegeta figure. That's actually insane. He's got the Brawly jewels and like pins and stuff like that. And then he's got the Hunter wow, I almost said Killua. Kurapika. The fucking like the rings. He's got them shits. I don't know where you got those, but those look really good. They look so good.
That Vegeta shit is tough, man.
Yeah.
That shit is tough.
Yeah. But along our lines, so I have my two favorite pieces of merch, and ironically, one of them came from you know those subscription boxes, like the Loot Anime, Loot Gaming. Yeah. I got it from Loot Anime, and it's this motherfucker right here. This is my favorite piece of fucking cutlery. I eat everything in this bitch. And when I tell you when my roommate uses this shit and I can't find it, I get pissed. I get angry because I'm like, where's my favorite bowl? I want to use my favorite bowl. And I'm like, oh my god, that nigga's using it. Fuck. So this, and then also this like engraved, it's like a dragon engraved rocks glass. And I got this from the Yakuza 6 Collector's Edition. Did I beat the game? No.
Damn.
Have I ever...
I thought you said you were going to say yes.
No. No, I didn't. Have I played any other Yakuza? No. But I got a really good deal on Amazon, like a few months or so after the game released or whatever. And I was like, oh, the collector's edition is like $10 more than the regular game. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that shit. And you get two of them. I have two of them. These are really good rocks glasses. And whenever I have someone over and I'm like, oh, do you want some water? And they're like, oh, this is so cool. And I'm like, yeah, I actually have bought this twice because my previous ones got broken. And it was even less money on Amazon the next time. So I got a second copy of the game and both of these hoes again and all the other collector's edition stuff for like way less than the initial price. So wow, my things have to do with like food and drinking, whatever. They are my favorite. They are. I mean, I have like so much other like paintings and things like that back there, yep. But these are the things that are like my go-tos. Like I love these hoes.
My stuff is a lot less functional. I know it talked a little bit about this Godzilla figurine, but on my computer I also got something I'd wanted for a long time, which was
we got Master Chief helmet.
And this is not the cat helmet. This one, you can actually get your head into it if I took all my stuff off. Like it's pretty good. Pretty freaking good. I actually found this a couple years ago at this like gaming shop where normally they just sell a lot of used video games and parts, but for some reason someone had turned in one of these. So I was like, I don't care what it costs. Fuck this. I'm an adult.
Is that from one of the the Ultra Collector's Editions or something?
I actually think that it was a separate release. It wasn't part of the game releases. The other one that I always have around, this is actually, it's not explicitly merch. There's a wrestler in Japan, Hiromu Takahashi, who would come to the ring with a cat, this cat doll. His name is Daryl. And then Daryl has a wife and a child, Daryl Jr. So as soon as I saw that this was available for sale somewhere, I was like, I'm a wrestling fan. I love Japanese shit. I got the cat and I got my Daryl, and then this one was a little more recent. Gerald of Rivia.
Oh.
Standee. It was pretty cool. This one, without the box, I found it for pretty cheap, and I'm always looking for stuff to put on my computer setup, let alone the hundreds of video games and video game related stuff and anime stuff that kind of lives out in the open behind me. I got all the arcade machines and all that stuff back there. So
yeah,
but definitely you see the cat every week, and that's his spot. He's hanging out.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all can still send stuff in for that question if you want to. We should do like our favorite Gunpla sometime.
Ooh, but then
I mean,
okay. If we do that, does it have to be?
It doesn't have to be
something
built.
you put together.
It doesn't have to be built. It doesn't have to be built. Okay. Because I have my eye on one of those like like $200 like high grade ones. Like I'm looking for them. Like I really want to get one of those. So I'm kind of just like, ooh, I want this and another one and then another one. But I will say it's really hard to find a Hellscythe custom nowadays. I can't find Hellscythe custom Gunpla. Maybe if I like got on the ground and looked, but when I go to like Hobby Link Japan and shit like that, I cannot find it. And I remember that was the first Gunpla I ever put together. It was a Hellscythe custom, and it was like a decent sized one. It wasn't like a mini. It was like a big one, like with the wings and everything. I loved that shit. And then of course my little cousins broke it, but whatever.
Crazy. I loved. By the way, real G's know that Hellscythe was it. Okay.
Well, I mean, it has my favorite weapon. That's where my like love of scythes came from. Was from that nigga.
And was Hellscythe custom from the OVA, or is that the one that was from the end of? Yeah. Okay. Endless Waltz.
Yeah.
With the one with the double.
Yeah. It had the double scythe thing coming up. Yeah.
Yo, that shit was.
Or the dual beam scythe.
I loved it so. It was so dumb. I loved it. Like he spun it around like.
Yes.
Like when you put dudes in a blender. Like that was crazy.
But it was so cool. It was just so cool, man. Was I going through a Batman phase when I like caught on to that shit too? I can't remember. But yeah. Favorite Gundam. But yeah, all right, let's hop into so it's been a minute. You can blame not Breath of the Wild. You can blame Tears of the Kingdom, at least for me. I have been depraved with it. 200 hours.
Let me ask you, have you committed any war crimes in that game?
No, I do not. Okay, accidentally. I did not do I didn't do anything on purpose. Nothing was done on purpose. But you niggas are sick on the internet. Bro. Oh my God. The machines have gotten worse. At first, I was like, oh, okay, they're like putting torches to them. Ha ha.
Yeah.
No, y'all have like rotating devices of like electricity, ice, fire. Like the beams are killing. I'm like, oh my God. But people are also doing really cool shit. Like they're fighting the Hinox with like completely automated things.
Yeah, what was it? I saw somebody flying around like in a fighter that they made with that.
Oh, yo, have you seen the Macross? The Macross one? That TikTok, I watched that shit so many times. Like, and then they're playing the Macross song, and then they flip into the actual anime where they're like flying with the I'm like, it was so good. It was so good.
You know what's funny? Like, so I haven't played, and Breath of the Wild, like, it was always on my list of things to get to, and now we're 2 games deep, and I don't know if I'll ever get around to like doing all that. But I've heard this sentiment from people who are hardcore Zelda fans that these games are amazing, right? Absolutely worth all of the hype and the interest. But they also, some of them feel kind of bad because it's the end of the era of more linear Zelda titles. Like, it's hard to see the series going back to the older formula now that they've gone open world.
They did 10 million in 3 days. Them niggas ain't going back. Them niggas ain't, and they haven't released any other sales figures yet. Like since they did that 3-day recap, they were like, we sold 10 million in 3 days. This is the new standard for it. Right. But you gotta give it to them though, because Monolith Soft is a huge part of this, and I mean, one of the reasons why it took so long for us to get certain Xenoblades was because they kept pulling niggas from Monolith Soft to work on Tears of the Kingdom and like Breath of the Wild and shit like that. And it did. I mean, it was worth it. But also, they're all getting raises. Like, everyone that works at Monolith Soft is getting raises. And they damn well should be, because Nintendo is literally making an insane amount of money from this game.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. It beat Pokemon. Like,
100%.
Not a lot of shit can stand on the same, like, plateau mountaintop as Pokemon. That nigga climbed up there in 3 days. So, yeah, it's crazy. And it honestly, it's super accessible, because I have friends who are into games and they're not into Pokemon, but they're very much so, like, they never played a Zelda in their life, but they played Breath of the Wild, and they're damn well playing Tears of the Kingdom right now. So they've tapped an audience that they weren't able to tap before, and they're gonna have them from now on. Like, they did it.
You know, there's
and
also, interesting...
every other game publisher should be embarrassed by whatever they put the fuck out, except for not Diablo and Blizzard, not Diablo and Street Fighter 6, but everybody else should be embarrassed right now.
There's a lot of trash out there. It's interesting to me how hard Nintendo has worked to like avoid fully stepping into the HD and 4K era, because obviously they've been able to achieve a lot of hits on the Switch. You know, these are they're not budget games; these are expensive games to make.
Yeah,
but they are not these like, you know, visually mind-blowing experiences. They're aesthetically
we've
great.
had visual mind-blowing things that have just been absolute ass games.
Oh, I mean, I would say most games suck.
Yeah,
most
they suck. And I think that's going... I'm very pleased with it, because all this has done is just set a new standard. So, like, I'm not saying every game they should aim for something like this. They're not going to reach it, but everything, like, needs to be better. Everything. If they're doing this on the Switch, you have no excuse. You just don't. In my mind, you don't. And also, open world games, I really kind of hate them. Like, Elden Ring, I know how many people love it. It's too intimidating for me. It's too much. When I beat that nigga at the bridge, and then it took me into the castle, and I had to fight the Dragon King nigga, and then after that, I like walked outside, and it was like, that was the tutorial. Yes. Boom! And I was like, I don't even know how much more I got in me, to be honest. I made it to some Magic Academy. Not a Magic Academy. I made it to some... It wasn't the Magic Academy. It's some dungeon. I forgot what the fuck it was. But I made it there. And then it was one of those like portal things. You have to go through the portal to get inside the shit. So it's like an instance. I walked in that shit. I got my ass washed, and I was like, you know what? I might be back. Most likely won't. But that is a really good game. All these other open world games, like, I will say this, and I will stand 10 toes down in it. Assassin's Creed is such shit with its open world. I hate it. I hate it so much, because it's just busy work. There's nothing behind it. I'm with you 100%. There's nothing behind it. The way that I would compare that to, like, Breath of the Wild. In Breath of the Wild, like, things are actively changing around you. You get something that matters from every side quest. And then Tears of the Kingdom takes that shit even further, and just, like, it develops all those quests that you did before. It's just like, how come you can't do something like this? And how many fucking Assassin's Creeds do we have now?
They're all soulless experiences.
They're soulless experiences. That is a great way to put it, because I have tried so many times to get into that series, and every single time I failed. Every single time. I've bought it on huge discounts, $15, $20. I'm like, okay, maybe this one is good. Maybe this one's been out a while, blah, 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 blah. Let me check it out. I can do like 2 hours. I can do 2 hours, and then it's over.
It's like there's like chore overload almost immediately.
Yes.
As soon as you get to the real game, you pop up in that map, and it's like there's 80,000 things to do. Yeah. Nah.
There's no like slow expansion of anything. And even when you do all that stuff, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go here. You do all of it, and it's like next to nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, you got this codex entry. It's what the fuck? I I don't even know the universe yet. No, you even talking about the codex and like.
We could have a whole other conversation about how poor storytelling is in these massive open world games. It takes something very special to draw a narrative out of there that because the story's got to be good enough to make me want to do all those fucking chores, right? Like if like GTA historically has had a lot to do, but people love the characters, so you go to the next thing to see more of the characters you like and do cool stuff with those. It ain't like that with Assassin's Creed shit. Is just like, oh my god, it's like, oh, pickpocket this many people, or climb to the top of this thing. And it's like, I don't even care about what's actually happening in the game. Like, fuck this.
Like, if they actually had something to do when you're climbing it, if you're like, oh, a kid is like running up that shit, like blah blah blah. So like, switch it up, do something. But they don't even do that. They're just like, oh, you guys love it.
It's because that series hasn't had an iconic character since Ezio. And
they ran that nigga into the ground.
That was the point. Like, they finally got something where they're like, oh, people like this character. They like this character. Let's keep going back to it. And it's like, bro, we're now like 10 mainline and side games after that. And the closest they got to something that people were like organically excited for was Black Flag, which was an expansion.
That was the only one I ever beat. And I was just like, this is it. Like, that was it. Like, that wasn't even that great. Murder
slave traders and free your people. Like, that's it. That's the last time I was even remotely interested in an Assassin's Creed game.
And the boat combat sucks in all of them. You cannot convince me anything else. The only reason why I even got Black Flag. Oh wait, Black Flag was the boat one.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't beat the boat one.
It was the expansion from that, where you just play as that the black captain. And it's just like...
Oh, okay, yeah. See, the only reason I even had Black Flag was because it was one of the only games out on PlayStation 4 when it first dropped.
Yeah.
And I played it for a little bit, and I was like, I hate these boats. I'm done. I hated those boats, man. But I beat 3, which was the one about the Civil War. Hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Hated it. I literally was just like, I beat it. I didn't like it, but I beat it. I don't see why you niggas are raving. But I beat it.
Have nothing to say about anything.
But
which, by the way, it will be a segue for later for a show that I watched over the last couple of weeks that does have something to say. Very interesting things to say, in fact. But we should actually talk about a show. So let's talk about narratives that do exist, and one narrative that exists and has been banging it out the fucking wall every single episode this season is Witch from Mercury. My bitches and bitchettes are going through it. They are suffering, and I love it. It's so... I've been waiting for the moment where Miorine gets that shit. It was only a matter of time before it was just like, you are going to have a reality check, Buki, and when it comes, it's going to be great. And it wasn't gruesome, but it definitely was just like you have no way to fix this. You have no way to fix this. But also, based off of the events that we've gotten over these past few episodes, there's no way in hell this is the end of this. This is just the beginning. That's what I'm saying.
I was thinking that
the whole time. So we're up to episode 9, but we're talking about events that span from episode 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Because, maybe really it's 8 and 9, but like starting with 7, you kind of have the realignment. So you put Miorine and Guel are together, and they're working together towards the idea of her becoming president, right? Like that's an alliance. She's still sort of working with Prospera, at least enough to ditch Suletta, right? So that's another alliance. It's Miorine and Prospera, but Guel is clearly, he knows that she's around because she's piloting Ariel as part of their security detail on Earth. So there's sort of something that's happening there with that little triangle of people. Then you got Shadiq, who's coming out the woodwork. We could talk a little bit about the fight at the end of episode 9, but I think it's a swerve. I think it's a one of those like he's arrested at the end of the episode. But clearly
he wanted that to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Or like it's not a problem.
It's not a problem, but I will say he was not expecting Guel to get them hits off.
No.
And I loved it. His face was like, this nigga, what? Yeah. What? Yeah.
So he's working with Dawn of Fold and the something alliance of the Manufacturers Alliance or whatever it is. But he said like the other group is going to get involved. Like
I know you're talking about. Yeah, the Alliance Assembly.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the Assembly League or something.
The Assembly, the Assembly something. Yeah.
So my understanding or my guess is that they're kind of out towards Jupiter.
So are the Assembly League the people that the like heavyset woman? Is that what she's from? She's from something else.
She's Cathedra, right?
She's Cathedra?
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
But she was working like the angle of let's like uncover what's going on and just arrest everybody so that we avoid like a full scale armed conflict.
Okay.
But I don't know a whole lot about necessarily like the lore here, and it may be the case that like that woman, I guess her name was Feng, is working with them. Actually, now that I think about it, it can't be the case. She has to be independent of that, right? Because if that were true, then she would have been in contact with that fat pilot, right? To organize like all this investigation. So I think the Space Assembly League is its own thing. I think that it's an outside force not affiliated directly with Cathedra. But we don't have any other information other than they are in space. So yeah. I theorize that since this show is cribbing all of these Gundam tropes, that they'd probably be like, the Jupiter Force or whatever. Because it's always the case in all these Gundam shows that like, you have a status quo, a war breaks out, you think everything's cool, and then motherfuckers coming from Jupiter to fuck everything up.
What was that? Reconquista in G?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The UC timeline is full of fleets coming from Jupiter and fucking things up. So I'm guessing they play a similar role, but either way, the shit kind of hit the fan. So if we go back right to the end of episode 7, Suletta is just like inconsolable. She's like pretending to be okay, but like in reality doesn't know what to do, doesn't know what's going on. Aries
just going through the motions. Yeah,
right. There's that great scene at the end of episode 7 where Aries kicks her out of Ariel, like ejects her.
Oh.
And like having her mom show up and like all like it was great. I thought it was fantastic.
I loved it. Yeah.
That music hit when she's like holding herself out in space alone, and I'm like, oh, look at them hitting those themes. Look at them hitting those themes. So that was fantastic. And then
also the fact that Prospera asked Ariel, is she sure that she wanted to do that? But then you get to the next episode and Prospera proceeds to like start a fucking like massacre.
Yeah.
Like so it's kind of just like, girl, Ariel did that because she knew you were gonna drag Suletta into this shit.
Right. Because Suletta will do anything her mother asked her to do.
Exactly.
And her mother was always planning on doing dirt because she hates Earth.
Yeah, she hates,
and space and everyone. She hates everyone.
Yeah, she hates everyone, yeah.
Right. She doesn't give a shit what happens as long as she gets her revenge. And it seems like Eri is going along with that, like also a good daughter, right? Both her and Suletta are good daughters. What I liked about that line was how much agency it gave every character in the scene, right? When Eri has agency, because clearly by Prospera's own words that it was her choice to do that, to separate, because they both are trying to look out for Suletta in their own way, right? Like,
even though it's shitty on everyone's part.
Yeah, like Prospera from the beginning of the season has always been a manipulative and hard to pierce sort of character. You don't know what her motives are. But one thing I think you could probably say at this point is that she genuinely does actually love her daughters. Like, I don't think it's just the straightforward manipulation. I think that, like, especially in that scene, we get a sketch of a troubled person who is clearly still trying to do what she thinks is the right thing. And so kicking Suletta out was a way to separate herself and protect her daughter, right? Because she already did draw her in by putting her on what is it called? Plant Queta, whatever it's called. Queta, right? That whole scenario was engineered in part through Prospera, at least. Well, I shouldn't say all that. She predicted that a lot of that stuff would happen. So there are people like Shadiq's group and Donna Fold who they're definitely operating on their own, but like like Shadiq says it, like Prospera outsmarted me this time. And so clearly the two of them have been sort of at each other's throats a little bit over time, with Prospera often using the machinations that are happening inside the Bennett group in order to advance what she's doing. And then, you know, now I wouldn't say she has foreknowledge, but she's a smart lady. Clearly she's foreseen a lot of the motives that a lot of these people have, from the CEOs to the kids to the cathedra to the Earth Organization. Like she's running her plan the whole time.
Okay.
So
Fang is part of the Assembly League.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. I was just searching for that because I was like, wait, something. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't. So I thought about it for a second. I was like, no, that if she was working together with the other dude, then they would have the information about Miorine, because it was very clear that they were trying to get something out of her from the beginning. Yeah. So yeah. So I'm curious about what that whole faction is about. It clearly, and they
just got introduced. Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Introduced, but they're just now.
We got
moving.
4 episodes, man, and we're only at the part where the two diametrically opposed, like, supporting characters have had their first duel, right?
Yes.
Guel and Sadiq.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
Their motives are they want to achieve the same thing with the same person, because they're both obsessed with Miorine in some way or another. But their character and their motivation, everything else, they can't. There's oil and water. These guys, completely different approaches, completely different ideologies, clashing over the same person.
But also the fact that Shadiq, I feel like, has not recognized that Guel has evolved. Like, Guel has changed in the way that he underestimated him, and Guel said it very well, like right before he got that lick on him, where he was like, the only thing you know how to do is use people.
Right.
And then he fucked his ass up. And I was like, you know what? He's not lying, because the entire time, all we have seen Shadiq do is manipulate and use people and not actually trust anybody.
You know those girls are going to sacrifice themselves for him.
Yeah, they're dead. Oh, I thought they were going to die this episode.
It felt too early for that, but it would be, if Guel had killed one of them, it would have been a nice...
He would have kept it moving.
Yeah.
He would have kept it, but he wouldn't even care. Guel would have felt more bad about killing one of those girls than Shadiq.
Yes.
Yeah. I can absolutely see that in the future.
Shadiq got his lick back in when he was like, yo, you know you killed your dad, right?
But that was... But I mean, like... See, he knew what he was doing because he was trying to play mind games from the beginning.
Yes.
But Guel was just like, it does not... Like, the dirt's been done, bitch.
What was the thing he said?
Dirt.
Yeah, he was like, you know, we'll never be forgiven for, like, the stuff that we both have done, but you're gonna get your comeuppance today.
Yes, exactly.
He's like, today, bitch.
Today. And I feel like we definitely have been missing that, because no one has been an actual rival for Suletta. No one. She doesn't care about anyone enough. The only person who could actually be a rival of, like, importance to Suletta would be Miorine. Right. But Miorine can't pilot a fucking mech.
Correct.
So where else are we gonna get it?
It's gotta be somebody else. In episode 9, the latest episode, I think we finally have gotten to the thing that I was talking about in the last episode, which is when they're pulling people out of the rubble. Suletta has that line where she's like, basically, it doesn't matter, we need to help as many people as we can. All this other, like, shit that's going on, the nonsense.
She's gonna die at the end. She's gonna sacrifice herself.
That absolutely could be the case. And I was thinking in terms of her character needed some motivating ideology that would at least put her at odds with someone. Because prior to this, she didn't really have one other than what her mom or somebody else told her to do. Yeah. Now she's beginning to occupy that space that I think is the more classical protagonist, which is there are a bunch of players who are all trying to get power, some of them we would mark as like, good, or they're doing it for good reasons. Guel's doing it, for good reasons. Miorine thinks she's doing it for good reasons. Shadiq thinks he's doing it for good reasons, and others believe all of this stuff. But they're on the extremes because their methods are everyone's methods are wrong.
Whatever they're doing, yeah.
Right. Suletta's point of view, as we've now learned, what she has learned, rather, is that the answer is in the middle of all of that. It's putting aside all the ideological differences and trying to help the most people, which goes back to Gundam as a company.
Yeah.
Their intent was not to build robots to kill people. Their intent was to help people through medical technology. So now things are aligning more where her character has a distinct point of view that you can work from to now have conflicts between different people with different ideologies. Because before now, she fought Sophie, but she more or less fought Sophie because she was blowing everything up. Not because what they believed in was like fundamentally different. Sophie was jealous.
That wasn't a rivalry.
It was a one-sided rivalry. Sophie was very jealous, right? And was psychotic. But other than her obsession with Suletta, there was no real fundamental disagreement between the two of them. Whereas Shadiq and Guel, they absolutely have a disagreement, a serious one, right? That has to be worked out,
through death.
Or through shonen combat, which is always a proxy for an argument. I
feel like a lot of people are gonna end the show either. Well, we know about the death flags, things like that. A lot of people are probably gonna end up with Gundam technology on their bodies by the end of this.
Yeah.
Based
Probably.
off of the things that we didn't kill the character off, but we hurt them so bad that they have to use the Gundam technology and blah blah blah, things like that. Which I could see them basically incorporating like an improvement in Gundam technology, and then that coming around and biting everybody else in the ass again. It basically being like, oh, these niggas with Gundam actually are way better pilots than anybody. And so we about to soup these fucking machines up, and then it's just a whole other fucking war coming through that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that this show has some really twisted shit with like vaporizing people, because Homegirl didn't deserve that. Also, I thought it was really funny how an Alon watched somebody else get disintegrated. When the old A-line got disintegrated. So it's kind of just like, oh, nigga, you got a glimpse of not your future, but a possibility of your erasure. And then, he did his thing. He used the Gundvold. What did she call it? Gundvolds?
Gundvolvers.
Gundvolvers.
Which I think is a fun name. That's a fun name.
Yeah. I was like, okay, like that is different than the gun bits, because those are like, the main Gundam's bits. But
it also sounds great to hear a Japanese voice actor. Gundvolver!
Yeah. But I kind of wish they had done I kind of wish they had kept Noria alive a little bit longer.
I went back and forth for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this seems like the place you kill this kind of character. And then it's like they had their epiphany, and I was like, okay, well then this is a place where they go away.
Yeah, and then come back.
Kill them again.
Yeah.
And then it was like, nah, fuck you, bro. We're going for shock value. Pow!
Now Elon got to go away, so it wasn't both.
Yeah, he got to go away.
Yeah,
and he has like a psycho motivation to go in and kill everybody.
Yeah. So he's going to inherit her hatred or some shit like that.
Or I strongly believe that's what will happen. But I think the way they're going to couch it is that because he's now the last I guess human Gundam pilot who has expressed that they think that their fate is death because they pilot these machines. If Norea went out, like, or almost went out, like, screaming, like, I'm gonna take everybody down with me, because her whole thing was she was terrified that the machine was gonna kill her.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd add that motivation to Elon, and he's got enemies, right? He's got Pale Corporation. Like, he's gonna go out, but he's gonna go out specifically killing the motherfuckers
who gonna kill them women.
Yeah, who he blames for all of this, for perpetuating all this shit, and then he will die. after that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what future is he looking for? He almost gave one. He was like, yeah, let's find a way to live. And it's like, pop, nope, she dead. So you ain't got nothing.
That was the closest we got to like love interest, though.
Yeah.
Beyond Suletta's and whatever the hell was going on with her and Guel, with she and Guel.
I mean, frankly, the answer is nothing.
Yeah.
But like, it could have been something there. They just didn't.
To be honest, I'm okay with it. I'm not really missing the romance. No. I'm not really missing it because everything else is hitting full cylinder. Like nothing but net. It's been really fucking enjoyable the whole fucking second season, just nonstop. But also, what was Martin? So I did like how they kind of connected Martin's thing, and then them like talking about Martin's situation in front of Suletta, and that was helping her come to her own conclusions, not people telling her what she should do. She came to that conclusion herself. So I was like, okay, I like that. I like that she wasn't she relied on them to, treat her the same way, but she wasn't like actively seeking, like, someone give me an answer. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do things? And she stopped parroting that, like, take one step, take two step shit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that shit's over. Your mommy's gone. Like, it's over. So I guess my other thing is that I just really, 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 really love what they've done with ChuChu, and whenever they put her in the fucking mobile suit,
shit, bro.
And it's
is
not
the shit.
And it was one frame. It was one frame where they did the scene where they panned back to her, and she had the fucking sniper rifle like a baseball bat in the fucking mobile suit, and I was they're keeping the brand consistent. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Like, I can see her being like a guerrilla fighter, where she's just like, she has like the close range and she has the mid and long range. Like, she'll be like, nigga, it doesn't matter if I'm out of bullets. I'm hitting you. You gonna take some damage.
ChuChu's the truth, man.
I also liked how
she had the bonnet. She had she was going in. Bro.
They have not forgotten her bonnet, and I appreciate that. They did not just give up and basically be like, oh, whatever. No, they were like, no, this is a character with curly hair. She gotta do her routine. So I did like, though, how even though she wanted to resort to physical violence the moment that Nika showed back up,
right?
When they got in the mech together, she was just like, I need you to talk to me, as opposed to just expecting forgiveness because
she was
friends.
mad. I think her line was, if you don't tell me everything that happened from A to Z, then there's nothing for me to forgive.
Yeah,
Which is like it's like a backwards way of saying, like, I'm mad at you, but if I'm
on my way to forgiving you.
Yeah, if you tell me what's going on, then maybe we can figure a way out of this. But I love that, again, her character was consistent, and we don't get a lot of her, but normally it's when she's reacting to things that relate to her friends. That you get her.
And honestly, it made so much sense that she was the one that went to go pull Suletta out of bed and things of that nature. Because I'm like, yeah, that is exactly her personality. And I also, the fucking people at school, she does not give a fuck about any of those kids at school. She's ready to throw down at any moment. Which, I mean, we should have known.
Because she punched out that punch in the face.
Oh my. That episode was so unexpected, but so good. But yeah, I'm just so biased towards Chica. I really am. I'm biased towards that character. And Lauda's good. So what do you think about homegirl that got crushed? Do you think she's alive?
No.
Or do you think she's dead?
she is dead. She, like, and the worst part about it was, like, they did the death flag announcement in a way that you would think they wouldn't kill that character, because normally when someone starts talking about what they have to live for in a action anime, especially a Gundam action anime, the moment
You're
it's
dead.
like, I gotta see my kids at home, it's like, brother, you will never see your children again. you will never see your kids again.
Your body's not even going home.
So when she was talking about Lauda, I was like, oh, okay, this could be bad. People are getting wasted right now. But the fact that she was carrying another girl, I was like, okay, they're probably not going to kill two people at the same time. Obviously, it's an unnamed person, so it's not like they mean anything. But I was like, when when a character is doing something actively, usually it's a cue in your head that like there's a reason why they're doing it. So normally you would not expect them to just get killed off in the same scene.
Yeah.
In a traditional anime, okay? There's so many like Tamino flags all over this show where I'm just like, I was like, when I got through episode 9, I was like, this was the Tamino episode where you just kill everybody. That's why I was surprised that none of Shadiq's girls went out either, because that would have been like a perfect time to like kill one of them.
Yeah, and they were fighting professionals. I was like, bruh, why are they alive? Like, why are they lasting this long?
And I'm okay if the excuse is that they're good, because that's everybody at Gundam High School is basically an ace pilot.
Yeah, they're training to be,
Yeah, and that we've just seen over the course of the series that they're doing shit that's like pretty fucking outrageous from top to bottom. Like, even, you know, for everything you want to say about Ariel and Suletta, like, Suletta shouldn't be that good of a pilot, but she's amazing. You know, like really, really good, which is a Gundam thing. You know, the 15
Oh my god, wait, we didn't even talk about Suletta. We didn't even talk about it. So your shit was right. You were right. We never got to.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You were right. James is right. She's a clone.
She's a clone.
She's a clone. She's a clone.
I was like, you know, you just squint. I was squinting in the beginning. I was like, what year is this? How old is she?
Yeah.
Huh?
But you know what? I thought that was really sad. Because basically it just doubled down that like Prospera does not think of her as a daughter. She thinks of her as a pawn, as like something to use, while she definitely still cares about 80 so much more. The scene where they showed Suletta as an infant, like reaching up and like looking at Prospera and Adri like going into the data storm and Prospera crying, I was like, well, this is pretty fucked. Like this is bad. Yeah. And it just exemplified that like she cares more about her than she ever cared about you. Like that
well, the whole object of her revenge is that. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is wow. Okay, so you were right. She's clone. Okay, so were there multiple clones and they died, or no? It's Aries' consciousness split up into the data storm. That's the thing. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. It could be the case, but the only thing that would make me doubt that is that if Suletta herself is a clone and her memory is of Eri as her sister, so she was alive long enough to see something happen with Eri, such that she has a connection to her through Ariel, right? If there were other clones, and they all appeared the same way, they would have had to be the same age as Eri.
Yeah.
So I don't know if necessarily that is true, or if that's more a function of how permit works, right? Like, this show is playing with the very common Gundam idea of like the shared consciousness.
Yeah.
Like new type phenomenon at its extreme is everyone turns into energy and you become one mind. Everyone can communicate to each other directly with no physical intermediary. So that's the new type concept that in the UC series is the result of humans going to space and then unlocking the other parts of their brain that you would never use. So that's UC theory right there. In this series, they're a lot less descriptive of like what that phenomenon is, other than they say that permit is like a kind of particle, and it's also a resource, because in episode 8 or 9, they say your monopoly on permit, which is what is also what turns a regular mobile suit into a Gundam.
That was the first time they mentioned something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So piecing things together, in the history of this world, this technology was discovered. It was applied to Gundams. They thought, and it makes sense because the idea behind the permit particles is that they allow for faster data transmission. So you could literally have like a pilot in the suit piloting it like it's an extension of their body. Okay, that's what the technology does. But we also found out that the further you push your integration, the human brain integration with the system,
your brain can't keep up.
Your brain can't take it anymore, and you cook yourself. You die. So then they have the Cathedra organization is built after they ban the use of Gundam technology. All Gundam technology is just a regular mobile suit plus permit particles and some computer interface. That's it. That's all it is. It's not like they're made out of any, like in the UC series, a Gundam specifically is a mobile suit made with Gundanium alloy. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the
Gundanium. Yes.
The other shit, like the Saikamus and like all the other things that let you go crazy as a new type, can be put anywhere. They don't have to be in a Gundam. But in this, it seems like Gundam means mobile suit plus permit. So if that's the case, then it stands to reason that this idea of a shared consciousness is something that only exists in what Prospera and her work has pulled off, because literally nobody else has any idea. The only person who knows is Mirene's dad. Mm-hmm. The other researcher from what do you call it? Who works for Pale. Like the one who made Elon, the human experience.
Oh yeah. Oh.
She's
Bunny?
aware of that.
No, not Bunny. Yeah, whatever.
But she's aware, and then presumably all the other people who are chasing Gundam technology are at least knowledgeable enough to know that it's not just that it kills you. There's a level beyond. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to figure out how to break past that higher level permit score. Mm-hmm. But Prosper is the only one who has done it, and so
Belmeria. There we go.
So she's the only one who's done it so far. So that's why I'm super curious as to the end game here, because if Suleta's ultimate foil is actually her mom, I mean, Prosper pilots a mobile suit.
I think
she's gonna fight her mom.
Yeah, she's probably gonna fight her mom. She's probably gonna, maybe she might have to fight Aerie to get Aerie back.
I mean, maybe.
But honestly, I could see the show. I could see the show going way further than Prospera. I could see it definitely being keyed in on Prospera and basically being like, okay, this is what she has to overcome initially. But unless Prospera is able to build an army of her own, right, or has followers of a large magnitude, which we haven't gotten a look into other companies outside of the Benneret group yet.
Right.
So there could be a whole other company, corporation shit like that Prospera has made a deal with already and they just haven't shown up yet. And then that could lead into insanity. But also, we don't have a captain yet.
No.
And I feel like it might be Miorine. Miorine might end up being the captain of the ship or whatever.
Maybe. They've done that before.
Yeah.
So same place we were last season. I am hanging my hat on. We got a whole other core, 2 core.
Yeah, we got another 2 cores. We have to. Minimum.
I will double down on the prior prediction of we are getting a time skip. It just doesn't.
We need it. 5 months wasn't long enough.
Yes, right. I also think that we need a reshuffle of the antagonists in this story, because up until now, the main the actual real conflict, it's not Prospera versus the world. It's not Suleta versus Prospera. It's not, Shadiq and Guel. The real conflict so far has been between Earth and space. And we've pretty much only gotten 3 episodes out of the 24 that have really done any building on what that conflict is. And literally in episode 9, they kick off what should be a very intense civil war with at least 4 different factions, all of which have very different motivations. Yeah. So my prediction is that we're getting a time skip. We're getting Cathedra coming in as a major operating player.
Yeah.
I could even see
they've been in the background the entire time.
Right. I can see them being instigated to do so by Prospera's machinations of exposing all of these Gundams everywhere. Because Cathedra is, remember the witch hunters? Energy defining who these people are. I think they get pushed forward as a primary antagonist in the sense that they would be in the best position. That concept of a faction would be the best position to say, get involved between Earth and space, fighting, everybody. We have several unnamed, as we talked about before. The people backing Shadiq have not exposed themselves. Dawn of Fold is just like out there. We spent that whole episode getting introduced to that their ace pilot, who was like a former Cathedral dude, and now he's off camera. They mentioned him in episode 8 or 9 that he exists. Olcott. They mention him. He is definitely like a mentor figure to Guel. They're not on the same side right now, so something would have to happen in order for them to basically the rebel Dawn of Fold people to join somebody. They're joining somebody, yeah. And we haven't even done the Gundam thing that you talked about, which is everybody get on the ship. Like, it just hasn't happened yet.
No.
And we blew up the high school, so no more high school's done. We're done. Every major player is now off the school or dead. Everybody's gone. Elon's gone. I almost walked away from this. We did not talk about Thigh Meat Girl.
Who?
The girl with the white hair who Martin was doing her nails.
Oh my god! Okay, the way they animate her high socks with the thigh meat like slightly like tipping over. I noticed that shit. I noticed it. I was like, y'all, she's important. I don't know. No, she and the guy. Yeah. But they're so what the Bergen group or what group did they say they were part of? They're part of the Benerit group, right?
Well, were they the ones who created that other mobile suit that
that ChuChu used?
Got?
Yeah. So they're part of the Benerit group, I'm assuming, because the Benerit group runs the school.
But they're a smaller player. But if that's true, aligning them with Earth House would be pretty important if they're gonna get on a goddamn ship.
But the thing is, they've had too much. They clearly have influence. So why are they included in like all the duels and things? Like, she's walking around like her shit does not stink.
She hasn't, but she literally has not done anything except hang around that office.
Yes.
For 2 cores.
Yeah.
So now that she's a character, she's with the team, right? She's supplied.
She's not a pilot. She's clearly not a pilot.
So there's your support person. They've been drawing her extra cute, and you know when they make them cute, that they're gonna get them on screen as much as they can. So I see the vision. I see it.
I've been wanting more of her since like the beginning, and I thought she would be more antagonistic throughout the whole.
But she's more like playful, doesn't give a fuck.
She's in her own world, which is honestly iconic.
That man painting her fucking toenails.
She's like, you might as well be useful, bitch, because you over here crying. Like, do something. I love it. Also, the Haro. I'm like, okay, what's up with the Haro? Like,
that shit was looking demonic, bro.
The red eyes looking into Martin's eye. I was like, okay, you know what? They kind of putting you through the ringer. You deserve it, but like, damn. I don't know where we're gonna go from here. We didn't get Suletta villain arc, and that's okay. It would have been a lot if
I think it would have been fun, but
it would have been fun. It would have been a lot though.
But now she's woken up to being a hero. Right,
and also she's because death means death. She's experiencing death in a different situation because she committed murder at the end of episode 12.
Yes,
and just like didn't even phase her, and now she's seeing murder, not committed by herself, but she's just seeing death in a different lens, and it's affecting her. Yeah. So I like that change also.
Yep, me too. Growth, remember? So she's the only one who hadn't really had major growth. We're doing it now.
Mm-hmm. And it's not the end. They better not do this shit. I will scream from the rooftop, Sunrise. Don't you fuck around. Don't do this.
I guess the last thing I'll say is that like one of my biggest pet peeves about heroic stories is when the heroes don't do anything heroic. It's like, imagine like I've watched so many Marvel movies where it's like, this is your hero, your coming out story. And then I watched the whole movie and I'm like, okay, a bunch of people died in that building over there. It's like, it's like Devin.
Oh my God.
It's like the Superman movie where like he goes to fight Zod and destroys an entire city. And it's like, I thought I'm supposed to root for this character, but he's not doing anything to protect people. So when I see, that impetus on the part of a character that I'm supposed to root for, because you're supposed to root for Suletta. Yes, she's very cute, but we saw at that episode where she murdered that dude to protect Miorine, that it's like, oh well, she also might also
missing
be, like,
some screws,
a little sociopathic, like just a little bit.
Which I mean, you got to be a little bit to do what she's doing. I'm not gonna lie, you got to have a little dip of crazy in there,
right? So we got something good, and we watched her sort of become a whole person, more of a whole person. So I love it. So give me more. And don't fuck around and try to end this season or the series in 3 episodes.
They cannot do this. In 3 episodes, there's no fucking way. They're still introducing, they're still developing characters.
I feel like we're still getting like new characters.
Yes. Well, we haven't even met we haven't even met the top people of the Assembly League.
True.
Why would they introduce a new faction and we don't know their leaders yet? They can't do that shit. It would be like, people would be like, this doesn't make any sense. We get the Benneret group leaders. We've gotten Earth leaders through mercenary leaders and political leaders. Right. We've got Prospera clearly being a leader of something. We don't know what it is, but she's doing something. We've gotten leaders, everything else. They cannot introduce the Assembly League and then be like, oh, they just maintain order. No, it's an organization. Something's fucked up over there, and it's going to influence everyone else in some form or fashion. 3 episodes is not enough.
Reckless speculation.
And the rivalry just started.
Yeah.
Like, the rivalry finally reached a point of contention where it was like, we don't fuck with each other at all anymore. Yes. Like, on site. So, they can't give us that and then have them have their final duel in like 2 episodes. That doesn't make any. No, they need to meet up with 3 different versions of their mechs and get, you get a lick, I get a lick, you get a lick, I get a lick, and then something fucked up happens and it's like, oh shit, okay, you lost.
So reckless speculation on my part. Prosperous will get a faction, and that faction will be religiously dogmatic in the way that it's presented.
Yeah.
Around the idea of like the Quiet Zero Project as a unifier for all of humanity and the end of
Data
conflict,
Storm,
the end of violence.
worshipping.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
One mind.
Very, very Elon Musk.
What if she has like, what about your theory about she has like an army of Sulettas?
That would be the wildest. If that does, I almost felt like that got validated when you saw all the Aries.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe this is just like because you see that happen the first time when she's taking over all of the gun volvers,
and they're like floating around.
Right.
Yeah.
So like maybe you could pass that off as like a visualization of her consciousness doing something. But I'm not I could see a final battle where it's like a bunch of airy controlled gun bits or gun volvers running around, or other Gundams. Like, she takes control of all the Gundams, and the visualization is lots of hers like sitting on their shoulders or whatever. Like when you saw her when she kicked Suletta out, like that shot of her standing on the shoulder of the machine.
I really liked that sequence. That sequence was really fucking cool. Yeah, that
was good. Well, speaking of other cool ass fucking sequences, we went through. We also haven't covered the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 episodes of Hell's Paradise.
Yeah, they had a break, but this week's episode fucking finally. I mean, not fucking finally. We've been getting answers
here and there.
But this week, we got so much information, and then okay, I just gotta say, Gabimaru hasn't had like a fucking like balls to the walls moment in a while, because he's been getting rocked. And also, I definitely remember saying like a few weeks ago, I was like, they're doing fight back to back to back, and like they're not supernatural. Like, he was getting his body rocked when they were fighting the 8-year-old giant.
Yes.
And I was like, and they have had no downtime, basically. So what the fuck? Like, and of course, this battle, it catches up to him. And he realizes why it catches up to him. And it's just like, okay, well, this is real. Like, thank you for like validating that and basically being like, yeah, no, this nigga is human. Like, you're human. Like, you gotta heal. You need time to heal, etc., etc. But man, when I tell you, when homeboy, I don't know the Tensen's name, but the Tensen that was fighting Gabimaru, when they started using, I don't know the name of the power either.
I think that's Jujin.
Jujin. When they started using them, when they were like, okay, I can't really, this nigga made me bleed. He don't even know how he made me bleed. And he started shooting the shit at Gabimaru, and Gabimaru just went beast mode and just started beating his ass so constantly that he just could not regenerate. And I was like, oh, this shit right here.
That sequence
so good.
That sequence was very earned.
It was so good, and then he got fucked.
The way it started out, like, I like how they establish both in this fight and then prior to this in the Tenza versus Zujin, like that fight as well.
Yeah,
that the what you're gonna get anytime a regular mortal person runs up on one of these Tengen, Tensen, is that bodies are gonna get just completely destroyed. And they play visually a lot with like broken necks and arms and things being ripped off.
Yes.
And
oh my god, yeah, the jaw like being like this and him trying to come back. I was like, oh my god.
Like it's a kind of, well, you now know, or we the audience now know, that like some characters can survive that kind of damage. Mm-hmm. And so when you see it represented visually, it's really to amp up the intensity of the fight that's happening. But it's like you're waiting for that real blow that's gonna do real damage. But in the meantime, you're gonna get like all kinds of like body destruction, like that you could never imagine. Heads smashed, limbs ripped apart, flesh torn, bones sticking out, like any awkward thing you can do with a human body, you're gonna see that, which is like a selling point. Like that's why you want to tune in next week to see how Gabimaru fucks somebody else up beyond all recognition. And
I wasn't expecting the monster transformation.
Yes.
That I was like, oh, and that was in the opening. So I was just like, oh, that's what that fucking like dual-headed thing was in the it was creepy. It was very creepy. Yep. But also it was just one more like mystery because we see the Tensen like meet together and they're drinking the elixir. Like they're like toasting, or I assume that's the elixir they're drinking because I didn't see was that the urn that he poured it out of? I'm not really positive on exactly.
When he was pouring the cups.
Yeah, the cups.
I thought he like dipped it. I thought it was like a
pot and I remember homeboy saying that like it's an urn that collect, but also it seemed like they were definitely in a center like area. So I'm like, okay, basically they are where it is manufactured or where it all concentrates. But the thing that I thought a few episodes ago, I feel like I'm right, where the food that May gave them is imparting power to them niggas, which means that like you can get the powers from the shit on the island as a whole. It doesn't have to be from the, what the fuck is it called? The elixir, but it's gonna be, it's less concentrated. Or that's what I've been going off of. That's what I thought a few episodes ago, because I was just like, well, if humans are turning into the plants and the plants like in general on the whole island, if like energy in the whole island is like moving to the middle, doesn't that mean that like even the like regular wildlife or like the regular plants and roots and shit like that are feeding off of that energy also, and thus like manifesting it there? It might not be as potent as the elixir, but it's there. And so that, I feel like that was a glimpse when Gabimaru did that kick and it had that glow, and homeboy was like, well, you actually damaged me, nigga. Wait a second.
Hold on a minute.
Wait
up now, player. Now, hold on.
What you doing? So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to everyone else's manifestation.
They mention in the episode, I think I can talk about this because it's already been said, that there's something called Tao, right? Mm-hmm. And that's related to all of the abilities, the superhuman abilities that the Tencent are using, but it's not necessarily related to the superhuman abilities that different characters over the course that we've already seen have displayed. As in, there are people who are just like ridiculously physically powerful. Yeah. But then there's also more supernatural stuff. But and that's as far as we are in the what's been talked about in any episode. I will say that one of the things that I really enjoyed about reading Hell's Paradise is that the power system is pretty straightforward. It's okay. It has a lot of complexity. It puts a big emphasis on something that's not done enough in shonen, which is about like mixing and matching people. And that's as far as I'll go about like, well, I think it'll come up in the next episode a little bit. But what that means is that there's a lot of times when just being strong is not enough to win. Yeah. Good. And we already and Gabimaru's character throughout the first 9 episodes, like, yes, he's a powerhouse, right? He's probably,
but he's experienced that with the giant guy,
right? And one of the things that he has said in his own internal monologue and other characters have commented is that he is somebody who watches. He needs information. He's always trying to figure out, okay, what works and what doesn't work. In fact, that comes up in this fight because he asks himself multiple times, "Fuck, how can I win?" I win by learning as much as I can about my opponent and then figuring out a way to counterattack. It's not just the fact that he could get punched into a wall and not die. You could sort of maybe attribute that to the ninjutsu and all this other
training and shit. Yeah.
But it's also, he uses that to his advantage, that he can survive. He could take some fucking punishment. He's not immortal, but he could definitely like get his ass kicked while learning. It's not just an ass pull at the end. Like, I'm gonna show you my ultra secret technique. It's like, no, he's
my potential.
Right. So it's a fun, as it gets more fleshed out and as you start to see the logic played out as to how all of this works, I believe that, it does exactly what it needs to do. It doesn't go crazy. It's like, I'm not going to write an eight volume encyclopedia on Nen for the power system in Hell's Paradise. God. Right? Which is fun. It's awesome. I love it. I think Nen is one of the best systems from like a creative point of view that I've ever seen. Down. Right. But it's also something that needs a lot of explanation, and you don't necessarily have the luxury of 100 episodes or a 500 chapter manga to like work it all out. Whereas like Hell's Paradise gives you exactly what you need. It's cool. It's interesting. They explore a lot of it, and then it becomes just a part of the regular story. You don't have to like fixate on exactly how everything works, but they do give you a lot. So I like that. Love the Sakuga we got in episode 9. We didn't really talk about Tense's death. He was cool.
We didn't talk about that episode.
I think it was a little shocking. Yeah. Yep.
Made that nigga Swiss cheese. I was like, wow.
And he still fought on too. He was like, well, I'm dead.
But he was like, I'm gonna get these licks. Honestly, that was unexpected. Especially when they were talking about, like, they kept him joking about the marriage stuff, and he was like, let's get off the island first. And I was like, well, he didn't say no. It's just like, okay. So it was, it was funny. And then it wasn't even that. It was the fact that, like, the teacher had already been injured. Right. So it was kind of just like, oh, okay, that nigga's probably about to die.
Yes, you figure it's going to be him, but it's
yeah. And then they swap it, and you're like, what? So, wait, so that nigga is just being left for dead. Yes. And now it's the teacher and the criminal that he was about to, like, execute immediately and shit. So I'm like, oh, okay.
So Gabimaru says at the end of episode 9 that he knows he can kill these motherfuckers, but it's gonna take more people. And we've already kind of started to see who survived the prisoner arc
so far
to get to this stage of this next arc.
Because he knows they're monsters, they're not gods.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm not saying everybody's gonna survive this one either, but like
are they gonna even listen to him?
Well,
that's another thing. It's like them niggas want smoke.
Yeah. So, but we've seen our players. The two brothers pulled themselves out the pit. We got the one-armed samurai and his Asaemon who's managed to live. We have
the little kid,
Nurugai and the old dude. This is Shion. I forget what his name is. We have obviously Gabimaru Sagari, and then the lubricated woman. I'll just say, when that character dropped, the dojins went crazy.
Oh, like what in the manga?
The dojins went crazy.
Or just wait, in the anime or the manga?
Both.
Oh, both.
But
okay.
more so since the anime came out, since people are like, yo, who is that?
Yeah. I mean, that's not surprising. I'm telling you, when she did that tongue lick, I was like, it's over. It's over.
It is a wrap.
It's over.
It's a wrap.
I know so many niggas that got bricked up just from that. I was like, it's a wrap. It's over. It's
Big
over.
facts.
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much so pleased with the pacing and the drip. Like, at first, it really felt like they were drip feeding the shit. And now it's just kind of just like, okay, like, you know, we're going to give it to you in a little big more chunks. We're going to, like, start fleshing this out. Like, things are going to start moving regularly. So, yeah, I've completely enjoyed all the past few episodes. And, you know, take your break. Y'all need a break? Take a break. I don't care. Take a break. Take your weed break.
Yep. Okay, so cheat skill. I was behind. I caught up. I've not changed my opinion from the last time we talked about it. I care so much more about the isekai part now, and I also think that what happened.
Bunny finally showed the fuck up.
I strongly believe that the events in episode 10 should have happened in episode 2.
Yes.
I think that, like, I get the progression, but it actually would have made so much more sense to put that earlier.
Next week's episode is supposed to be to the royal capital. Bitch, what? You mentioned this on episode 3. Why are we just now getting there?
So you know what's weird? This is not about the storyline. This show has done exceptionally well. I don't know if you're aware of, like, the viewership for Cheat Skill. It's probably like top 5 this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It performs pretty well on my channel, so like, yeah, okay. But I thought it was like niche. Well, you know, no, you never mind. But honestly, that's not really surprising. The show is really good quality. Like, yeah. And I'm not saying plot wise, but just like overall entertainment value. It's very good. Even if you were to classify it as like a B tier, B minus, and a B, like a B tier, B tier production, like show isekai. It's doing really well for itself. Like I've just, the isekai stuff is the highlight for me. Like, and it just when the moment that they went back to the fucking school this episode, I was like, don't do this. I know you have to do this, but like, don't do this. And of course, it was all like comedic things to show that like you're not human anymore. Like you have evolved beyond being human and to learn how to use your powers. And then Kaori being really bad at it.
The whole point now of going back to the human world is to just have some woman get fondled on camera. Okay,
but I have to say, Homegirl's titties is like every episode now. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. Like, and they're not hiding it. Like, it's like, she went to go pick him up. They didn't even show her face. They literally just showed her titties going like this and them running down the hallway. I was like, okay, this is actually like really blatant, y'all. And Homegirl has fondled her titties 3 times now.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, okay.
It's fucking unbelievable. Listen,
I'm not mad at it.
I don't care. Yeah, thank you.
I'm not mad at it.
Yes. I'm not mad either. But I'm just saying, like, if that's all it is, you could do that in 3 minutes.
Yeah,
like the soccer game where she just starts jumping for no reason, and then everyone and it's like they keep coming back to it. Like she's so dumb. She's like, I don't know what's going on.
She told me to start jumping.
Oh, what's happening? I don't know. It's like, God, you know. If there's one group of people on Earth who are incredibly aware of what's happening with their bodies at the age of like 16, 17,
women.
It is teenage girls. It is women. Okay? These niggas be running around everywhere, you know, literally falling apart. They don't know.
Stinking, don't take no shower.
Right.
Ain't going to fucking
Listen,
facial routine.
I cannot tell you the number of people I've talked to who, when they were like 50 or 60 years old and their bodies were changing, and they would say to me, like, as an adult, like, it was the most uncomfortable, like, weird part of my life. I was like trying to cover myself up. I was doing this, I was doing that, because they don't know how to, you know what I'm saying?
Move in that body yet.
Exactly. Meanwhile, in this one, the hottest bitch on earth is like flopping around. She's clearly not wearing the right bra because it's like everything's in motion.
Yeah, is she wearing one at all? Like, girl, they're doing too much.
Listen, if she is wearing one, that company needs to be sued because it is not holding or collecting anything. Okay? Let's do a lot of this. It's ridiculous. But
it's isekai titty skills.
But I will say that on the isekai side of the story, if you cut out the weak harem that's in the human world and just look at the one he's building up on that side, if you are into that kind of thing, those are some gorgeously drawn women.
Yeah, you know what? I have to say, I actually did like I grew on the princess after her episode with the assassin.
Yes.
Them, I was like, okay, you know
that's
what? This
rom-com stuff.
Yeah, I was like, this is actually very good development for her because she was very annoying. She is still annoying to us in a sense, but she's very pragmatic, very realistic, and just like, okay, but I'm also a princess, so I can get my fucking way. So like, I can save you. And also, I recognize that you a fucking competition, bitch. So, you know, keep your enemies close.
Right.
Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. You're my enemy in love. My rival in love. Whatever. But anyways, I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed her development that way. And I also like, because I was expecting her to be like, oh my God, you can teleport. We have to tell everybody. And she was like, nigga, don't you tell nobody about this shit. What are you doing teleporting? And I was like, oh, so she actually recognizes like the world stage and like what he already is on it. So that liked it. And also the vile girl that they're fighting, she's gonna be part of the harem. It's only a matter of time.
100%.
She's gonna be part of the harem.
Too hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's the only one. She's the only silver haired. She's coming. It's
Too
only
hot.
a matter of time.
Too hot. That's just how it goes. But like what I liked especially was like when we meet the rabbit. Whatever his story is, he's being hunted, you know, divine beast, blah 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 blah. That to me would have been enough to hang a adventure story for the main character to follow on had it been introduced a lot earlier, because you could be like, and also would help explain within the context of that world a lot more things. Like, think about it, every encounter he had, right? He was super strong, had the greatest weapons, whatever else. Then he usually had to spend about like, you know, a good 5 minutes trying to explain why he's so powerful to all the people in that other world. Yeah. Whereas if that rabbit character had come in earlier, you could still play it off like he doesn't know why. He thinks the reason he's strong is because of the sage who's training him. And that would be a realistic explanation to those people. And then we just save a lot of time. Then we could just like,
maybe they'll do that going forward.
I'm sure. I mean, whether they do or they don't, I'm just saying, like, from a narrative point of view, it got old after the first time of him being like OP. You know what I mean? And so, so you introduce stuff like that to put this, to make it easier for your storytelling, where you just want to go, so you want to say, take my main character, he's in point A, I want to get him to point B, and I don't want to like have to have a lot of exposition. Okay, put that mentor figure in there, and then every time you would normally have like a 1 minute or 2 minute conversation like, why is he so strong, you just refer to the mentor, and everyone just assumes, and the audience knows better. I know better because I'm watching the show, I see what really happened. But then you can just get to the shits, because they already only spend maybe 8 minutes per episode in the other world, 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Save time. Just be efficient. So that's what I meant by, if that had been moved earlier, it would just we could have gotten a lot further. We could have progressed things. But it is what it is. I think that this is getting a second core.
Oh, yeah.
I think it has to.
It has to, because we not wrapping anything up with this first core. at all. Also, Eminence and Shadow's second core is already ready to go. They're premiering the first episode at some convention. So
listen to me. My body is ready. My body is fully aligned and charged up. Okay, there's no question.
Just absolute depraved.
Yes.
I'm ready.
I'm activated. My sensors are on. They're pointing in the right direction.
I want more of the two girls at the training camp. Like the goofy one and the one that's like, get your ass over here, bitch.
Yeah,
like,
let's go.
I want it. I'm so ready for it. But yeah, as far as cheat skill, it's like a nice palate cleanser after a weekend of just gore and just fuck shit. It's just like, okay, I don't watch Delusion, I don't watch Paradise, I don't watch Rich from Mercury. Is, everybody going through it, and then you watch Isekai cheat skills. It's just like, nigga, look at this model. Look at the you over
gorgeously
here,
drawn.
just like
everything gorgeously drawn.
The show looks so good. The characters look really good. Like they look so good, especially the girls. Like but the way that they use like the sun and like the lighting effects and everything, it just everything pops and it just looks really, really good. Like I think the aesthetic is extremely consistent. Of course, they did the CG this week, and I noticed it, but I didn't really care because they had that fight scene where the bunny was like, "All right, we training."
That was cool. Yeah, they had they had like the blue and yellow effects. Which I thought that was a nice way to save some money. Yeah, and still look good, right? And keep things moving. Yeah. That first 6 to 8 minutes of this episode were like, they got a lot fucking done in that first 6 to 8 minutes. Yeah. They got a lot done.
And actually, it was nice to see him get his ass whooped a little bit.
Yes. Introduce some challenge. Something he's got to think about.
So,
yeah. So what else you watch? What else you
watch? I watched a little bit more of Bofuri, and I feel like this kind of like links into Isekai cheat skill because through the ridiculousness. Because, like, how Isekai cheat skill is kind of just like, okay, nigga, like, really? Like, where did this shit come from? Like, where did that power come from? Like, this is that. Watching Bofuri is more so that, but just in a much more, like, lighthearted sense, where it's more so of them competing against other guilds. And I think the main thing that I like about Bofuri is that the GMs are out to get her ass. The GMs are out to get her ass because she just keeps breaking the fucking game unintentionally, and they're just like in the GM chat room like screaming like, how the fuck did she beat that monster that we just coded today, and how she did it, stuff like that. And so I actually was watching it after cheat skill, and I was like, you know what, I'm getting the same vibe. This is definitely more like slice of life-ish chill vibes, but when they fight like the effects are so fucking cool, especially when Sally, who's like the rogue, whenever she fights niggas, it's like shit just goes down. But then also Maple, whenever like she had like the huge mecha fucking armor one episode, and in the next episode she's fighting with the shit again, and they're like, wait, why isn't it as clunky? And she's like, oh, I have like 3 versions of this. And so I'm like, what the fuck you mean you got 3 versions of it? And the new version has like this huge drill, like Gurren Lagann. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is just, it's so ridiculous, but you can't help but love it because the moment that they introduce shit like that, they give you a cool ass fucking battle where she just like washes shit. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, like, how can I not like this? Like, how can I not enjoy this? This is just good. So I watched more Bofuri season 2, and it was good. Like, the formula for it works. They just do guild events where they show off everyone's new powers. And it works for the show. It's nothing like serious where they're like contemplating life. Like, one girl got grounded because she's playing the game too much. So they were like, damn, we gotta do this event without her because she's fucking grounded because she didn't do her homework. Damn, bitch. Realistic. Okay. That's about as realistic as it gets. The rest of it is just fun. So yeah, that's what I watch. I'm telling y'all, I literally spent every waking moment of my free time playing Zelda. So I did not do anything else.
That's all good. That's all good.
What you watch?
Well, this is gonna be my recommendation for the week because I watched a series that released recently on Netflix called Yakitori, Soldiers of Misfortune.
And that is also like 3D. Is it 3D?
Yep, it's a cell shaded
cell shade.
3D.
Okay,
but it really has an aesthetic that's fun to watch, and it's pretty well animated. It's incredibly violent, so it's one of those like violent, really violent. So it's based on a novel and manga that's written by the same creator as Tanya the Evil. So it's Carlo Zen. And it's like an action science fiction series that is detailing the story of a group of human soldiers who are fighting for or on behalf of a alien trade federation. So in the story of Yakitori, the Earth was not so much invaded by, but like it came into contact with a group of aliens who were so far more advanced than the Earth was that it took one demonstration of a weapon for the entire planet to just like give up and just say, hey, you can run shit.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been 30 years since that point, and Earth has become like a third world country.
Ooh.
And the Trade Federation, their technology is so advanced and useful that everybody on Earth wants to use it. They want to use it. But that requires them to go into an immense amount of debt in order to finance this sort of upgrade of the world. And so as a result, on Earth, there's very little value for like any individual worker because what can you do? Like there's alien technology makes everything easier to do, kind of like how in a third world country, like industrializing, that they go into massive debt from foreign powers, they get their governments taken over, blah blah blah. That's the backstory. The main character is a young man from Japan who has he is very resentful of the fact that there's no way for him to get ahead in this life. He starts out in finishing high school, and it turned out that the school that he went to, only the top 2 people, like performers, like academically, were gonna get recommended to go and work for the Trade Federation. Everybody else is basically condemned to work in like really low paying shitty jobs where no one even gives a fuck, because what do? You're like managing a warehouse that's like growing fucking like mushrooms or something. It's worthless work. You don't care about it. Your bosses don't care about it. Nobody who's working there cares about it. And so the main character is like he hates that he has been told basically since he was a kid that you're worthless and you have no hopes in life. And so he's constantly like fighting people. He's very like, when people don't want to do it, for example, we meet him at his job and he's like there day one and he realizes he's the only person who gives a shit. Like he's trying to work hard in his warehouse and everyone else is smoking and like slacking off, and he gets into like a fist fight with these guys. Long story short, he winds up getting recruited by another human who works for the Trade Federation but is part of their repossession department, which is a fancy way of saying that the Trade Federation, when planets don't pay up what they owe, they send in disposable soldiers to go essentially seize all of the shit. Disposable. And it's not just humans. It's all the different races that they've ever come across. And so a lot of the alien designs just look like animals. So it's like there's dog people, there's cat people, there's like, gorillas and capybaras and whatever. But when the Trade Federation sends its soldiers, they don't bother to train them. They just imprint in their minds how to shoot a weapon or like how to fight, and then they just send them off to go die. What is it? I'm trying to remember what his name, the main character's name is. He has like he goes by like X Killer, like that's like what he has on his helmet. Akira, that's right. His name is Akira. And so Akira gets recruited by someone in the Trade Federation to join these conscripted soldiers, which they call Yakitori, because so many of them die when they are dropped onto a planet. They like burn up that it became like a colloquial expression, like they're getting fried up like meat on a stick.
Yeah.
And so the Yakitori became like the term that other humans call those flash trained soldiers who just go out to go die. And that's pretty much all humans are any good for, is being mercenaries in this world. So he's recruited, and we find out that the guy who recruited him was trying to figure out a solution to a big problem, which was when the humans they would get to go send and fight would actually wind up on the battlefield, they would die at incredible numbers. Like, you know, they send 1,000 and 100 come back, which is a lot more than any of the other races that all get this flash training. And so his theory was that humans as a species are not very good at just having things imprinted on their minds, that we work best when we train and do things like the hard way. And so Akira and four other humans who are, four other humans who are specially selected are basically put through a training program that's like old school. Like they go through boot camp. The only thing they get imprinted on is the language, so they can talk to other aliens, which ironically enough, the language of the universe, or the trade language, is Sri Lankan of all things. Like it's just like it's like little weird things like that are like, why is that in here? It's just because the author wanted to. And then the story is told as a flash forward flashback of Akira and the Yakitori squad number 1, training and getting to know each other and having all their conflicts with each other. And then the flash forward, or the present, is an operation that they're in on a planet called Barca, which is in the midst of a war against the Trade Federation because the inhabitants refused to sign a really shitty deal that would have, like, you know, one of those things that like we do to third world countries where it's like, even your water, we own it. They were like, nah, bro, we're not fucking doing that. And so all of the Trade Federation soldiers who were from that planet, who had all been like flash trained, all turned on the people who were from off-world, and so a war has broken out. And that's the setup. So it's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of like interesting world building, but the reason why I enjoyed it is because the whole thing is a very novel critique on capitalism, on like the society that we have, and globalization, and like a lot of really heavy and dry topics, but it's told through an ultra fucking violent series. Like in the first episode, you watch hundreds, if not thousands, of people get completely wasted, because so it's like a all-out war. We're talking like the main characters are bunkered up, literally mowing down hordes of aliens who are all charging at them, and then they realize after the fact that half of them have suicide vests, so then they start blowing up, and then they realize they have to kill all of them before they get close enough to the bunker to do that. Their allies, who are also aliens that have been flash trained, fucking suck, so they're getting killed at ridiculous rates in horrible ways. Wow. Niggas' heads getting blown off, jaws getting blown off, decapitations, dismemberments. Like, then the death count just on screen for this, I don't know, maybe it was like 6 or 8 episodes in season 1, not including the actual genocide that happens at the end of the first mission, is at least in like the high hundreds, if not the thousands. So we're talking like large casualties. Wow. And you see all that shit. But the reason why I really enjoyed it was not just that it was very violent, is that the author went through a lot of trouble to characterize even some very minor characters, people that would otherwise, in another sort of more on the nose critique or satire, be played off as jokes. Like in the very first episode, you meet this Barkin, who is that's the planet where the war is happening, and he's the first character you meet, and he's like preparing to like go and launch his attack, and he's like looking at the pictures of his wife and kids. You could tell he's older, and so he's not as fast or as like, you know, energetic as all the other aliens who are there, who by the way all look like rodents. So on this planet, all the aliens are like, they're like mice or rats or capybaras, like looking aliens. But then when you see them like talk to each other, they don't speak a language, they just go choo 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 choo, and then they have a translation at the bottom of the screen. But they managed to get like a lot of like emotional, like, you know, conversations out just in the subtitles. But it's a fucking ridiculous, so you understand, this is a ridiculous scene, but they do so much to like to draw out like enough of a real character such that when that character gets killed by a stray bullet later on in the middle of the fighting after doing some heroic ass shit, and then you realize that he's actually one of the bad guys because he's actually fighting against our main characters. We don't realize that until maybe like 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like really neat stuff on that side. And so I really appreciate that part. And then because it's a flashback, flash forward, we really actually do get to see how the Yakitori squad goes from hating each other's guts and not understanding like why they're there and why they're always failing to a well-oiled machine that now that you've seen what they're capable of in the present time, like they are very efficient, they're level-headed, they work well together, they delegate, they're creative, they do all these things to get out of the problems that are literally killing everybody around them. And you have learned why it is that they trust each other so much, is because they went through all this, rigorous, unfair training together, and that they start out absolutely disliking each other. Everybody, except for the black guy, whose name is Tyrone. But I'm just gonna...
Oh my god!
His name is Tyrone.
His name is Tyrone. Okay.
Yes. But he starts out like as like the most friendly. He's like, all right, why are y'all acting crazy? We need to get our shit together. But, his name is Tyrone. And that's fine. So I enjoyed it. It's creative. It's somewhat thought-provoking. It's funny. Super violent. It's also not very long. So you can get through the whole thing in probably under 3 hours. 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Soundtrack is hit or miss for me. There's a lot of like electronic music and like dance music, like bass heavy like stuff, because when the battles happen it goes to this sort of techno-y like house track, which is cool, but it's not like something you're gonna remember long after the series is over. It's not memorable in it. But other than that, I super enjoyed it, and the ending, which it ends in a genocide, and then all of our main characters on trial for genocide. The art, I won't. Oh God! I won't give away the way they get out of it, but it is both very smart, but also completely disheartening. In the way that it feels real, like the way people become so dehumanized by like the system that they're in, that it might turn out that they're maybe not even humans at all. Maybe they're just equipment. And can you really blame equipment for killing somebody? I mean, we were talking about our gun rights like fanatics in this country. Every time somebody gets killed, it's like it's the guns that are the problem. It's like no gun ever pulled the trigger, did it? Yeah. So what happens if the human is the gun?
Until the AIs get hold of them.
Let's not tempt fate here. So anyway, the show is Yakitori, Soldiers of Misfortune. It's on Netflix. I'd say check it out. Even if you only watch the first episode, I think you'll get a lot of what it's going for. And I had fun just sitting back and binging it real quick last week.
Yeah. So then, all I want to know is where the hell is season 2 of Spriggan?
That's coming, right? That is coming.
It's coming. It is? Because I need it.
Yeah, it is coming. They announced that it was getting season 2 last month.
Oh, last month. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, that all sounds good enough to where I think I might dip my toe. I'll watch episode 1 while I'm eating dinner one night and see how it goes. Goes. But yeah. Well, you did your recommendation. Clearly, my recommendation is still Zelda, y'all, because I've been talking about it all episode. So, It's Zelda. Woohoo, go Zelda. News-wise, let's go ahead and move to news. So, I have two things, but one thing is, so Hiro Mashima is starting a new manga.
Really?
Yeah. So, he's starting a new manga. What's the name of this? It's called Dead Rock. It's about Demon King. I think I saw the training. Picture for this. Yeah, but that is not my biggest shocker. I didn't know that Eden Zero is in its final arc already.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
It started this past December. Its final arc started this past December. And then I was looking at Fairy Tail's runtime. Eden Zero is like barely, it's like 6 years, or it's going on 6 years. And Fairy Tail was like over 10 years. So I'm like, that shit lasted a little bit over like half the time of Fairy Tail. So I'm very curious to see like, why. I mean, I'm not, you know what?
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I think
was going to be like certain things, because I think Jujutsu Kaisen is headed in that same route, right? Like he said, it was going to wrap up in like 2 years.
Yep.
So it's not a bad thing, but with Hero's history, I'm kind of just like, oh, it's over already? Like, you're done? But this one, the Bad Rock or whatever, it's supposed to be like a limited manga series. It's not going to be an ongoing thing. So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And I was just like, damn, you must be chilling over there in Eden Zero Land. You got enough time and energy to pop this shit out simultaneously. Like, damn.
Yeah.
What I'm waiting on is Okubo to talk about something new. Like, let's get into it.
Well,
let's get into it.
We could always ask for things. That is true.
And then the only other thing I would say is that I saw, I think like a week or two ago, about Hiroyuki Sawano. He has like a fan club, and like he posted a blog on his fan club about how the music from Xenoblade X basically informed and like defined his international sound. And I completely agree with him.
I agree with that.
Because if you go and you listen to that Xenoblade X soundtrack,
can't get over it. It's so good.
It's so good. It's
can't get over
it. You can just put it on repeat. You can just put it on repeat. And I think it hits the perfect balance of like instrumental and vocal songs. Like, it's not too many of one or the other, and they're used in the perfect places. And even things that you wouldn't even think, like when you hear the sound, you think like, oh, I'm going to send my character into overdrive. And then V Flügel starts playing and you're like, what the fuck is this bitch? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, is that German? And then all of a sudden the chorus hits and you're like, yes, this is it.
Don't worry is like the perfect, like if I'm reading like a good comic,
yeah,
Don't Worry is fantastic. The Key We've Lost, that's the final boss theme.
Yeah,
is fucking sick. Like there's just so Black Tar.
Black Tar is so good. Oh my!
Yeah,
the second version, the second version of Black Tar.
Yes, yeah.
Not I like the first part of it, but there's like the second. The second part is the one where you're flying, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that shit. When I got in that mecha. And I was like, wait a second. Whoa. Wait, we get a whole different soundtrack for the sky? Are you kidding, my nigga?
This shit's crazy.
So yeah, but also people were taking that to hint at him talking about it at all. Was him probably hinting at the actual like remake or the remaster is probably on its way. Which
I don't know. That's the one game off of Wii U where I was like, I can't believe that they still haven't decided to.
I think they haven't done it because I remember when I got X, I had to get an external hard drive for my Wii U to like play that shit, and they probably are just thinking like the Switch just doesn't have the power.
How could that be possible? I mean, it must be, but. Was the Wii U was a generation ago?
It was a generation ago, but I guess what
they've remade every other Xenoblade game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly just happy that they brought Tokyo Mirage Sessions over from Wii U.
We got that before we got Xenoblade X. That's
sure
nuts.
The fucking did. I mean, that is actually sad because Xenoblade X sold way better than Mirage Sessions. Like, way, way better. Like, Mirage Sessions honestly, I was shocked when they announced Mirage Sessions was coming to the Switch. But I feel like maybe the IPs were just too big. They were just like, we gonna make our money back, niggas.
This shit doesn't make sense. Like,
I
will forever be baffled by the business of, like, Japanese media. Because there are so many things from, like...
Oh, wait. You didn't play Future Redeemed, did you?
No, I did not.
Oh, there's a lot at the end of Future Redeemed.
So I've heard.
Yeah, there's a lot at the end. There's a radio broadcast that is going on in the background while the characters are like having their like, final like, arguments or whatever about, what the world should be and how it should exist and what is right and what's wrong. And there's a broadcast in the background literally linking all of the universes together through like a news broadcast, wild. Like dropping like what is it, like Philadelphia class cruise ships. It talks about like it goes like, and then oh well, shit, I don't want to spoil the people who probably want to watch it.
Yeah,
who want to play
I want to know,
Redeemed.
but not
but
today.
Yeah. But basically, Future Redeemed just like literally like lit a huge fire under everybody because it was just like, you niggas, the link between Blade and Saga is insane. That's all I would say. Insane.
Now all we need is that Xenogears remake. Huh? Can we do that?
No, because Square Enix won't give it to them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was looking into that because of that stuff, and I was like, how come we haven't got like they've been remastering like Chrono Trigger for like ages. We got Chrono Cross, all that shit. I was like, where the fuck is Xenogears? And it's like, oh, Square Enix are just being assholes. Okay.
We'll have our 18th Final Fantasy mobile game, but we can't get an HD Xenogears in 2023.
Well, you know what?
We're living in a hell world.
Leave Creative Business Unit 3 out of this. I know they don't like niggas, but leave them out of it. Leave them out of it.
No. It's not that they don't like us. It's just that, hey, it would be unrealistic, right? In this fantasy world where we control every aspect of the presentation, like it would be unrealistic.
Niggas in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, they didn't exist.
Whatever.
It didn't show up in his research.
I'm gonna buy it though. I'm gonna be there day one though. I'm gonna be there.
That's what the sad part is. Soul Eye.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bat an eyelash. It's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, it looks too fucking good. But Creative Business Unit 3, they can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't give a fuck. But they need to release Xenogears. They need to release it because I think I read something about that was supposed to be Final Fantasy VII, wasn't it? And then Square Enix was like, this is too dark. Like, we cannot.
Yeah, there was some. Yeah. Well, it was fucking the plot is like suicide. It's like literally.
I mean, I think I started Xenogears and I just never. I didn't even make it past an hour.
Kill God, everybody commit suicide.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not. I mean, killing gods is a regular theme in his Xeno. So yeah. But yeah, Xenoblade X Hiroyuki Sawano. I'm here for it. If we get a Xenoblade X2 announcement, because I didn't beat X. I made it to the final area. I didn't beat it. But I heard that the ending was pretty much like left open. There was a lot of like loose plot strings at the end of it. If they announce 2 and Sawano is part of that soundtrack, then that's a win. That's a hard win for everybody. Because I think Xenoblade 3 basically made the series a little bit more mainstream than 2 did, for sure. Because 2 was very niche. Especially with the ice titty bear woman. So... Hey, she was a healer, so hey.
Fair enough. On my end, we got announcement and trailer for Bastard Season 2, also on Netflix. This is where the shit goes insane. If you watch Bastard and you were like, man, this seems like a retro throwback to an era when like unmitigated fan service and hyperviolence were like totally normal, instead of like you split between different franchises. You were right, because it was, and I wound up enjoying it, even though in the first season you could see a lot of the limitations of where creative note taking or wholesale theft from other series was rampant. But as the manga goes further, which I have read, this show goes utterly off the rails in terms of scale and insanity. Where at first it may have felt like, an X-rated Dungeons and Dragons campaign. If you watch the trailer, you're gonna see, I don't know, giant mecha kaiju fucking sci-fi armored angels, body horror demons, some shit that just will make your eyes bleed. Like that plus the regular hyper violence and Dark Schneider being a complete asshole. and a Chad and big floppy boobs everywhere. Like that's what season 2 is going to be.
Okay.
So well, if
Chad
even
and
one
boobies, I expected.
If 1/3 of that at least sounds interesting enough to check out,
1/3.
I would say give season 2 a shot. But I will tell you that if you hop even like 1 or 2 episodes forward, it will make absolutely no sense because of the wild shit that we're about to get into.
So it's just gonna be like episode after episode of just like plot action nonstop craze.
I mean, I think it's just the level of like the power scaling is going to go to a place that is completely nonsensical. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So there's a re-release and I guess a remaster for Macross 2. Which is the ill-fated OVA that was created by, I think Studio Nue, but without Big West. There's a whole story around like why does Macross 2 exist? Where does it actually exist in the canon of Macross? Which, fun fact, it doesn't. And the fact that it was kind of like a story remake of the Do You Remember Love movie, and it was almost canceled before it got split into a 6-part OVA, and it wound up doing a lot better in the US than it did in Japan. In Japan, it's like a vilified like a vilified project. In the US, because folks were just not aware of the drama that was going on, and the fact that we wound up not getting we didn't get Do You Remember Love until like late. And so the idea that this was a sequel, for most people here, we didn't fucking know any better. So it did really well in the United States. But, you know, this is pre-Harmony Gold lawsuit, and Nue and all that other stuff eventually moved most of that IP over to Sunrise. So we're in a new day. It's getting an HD remaster. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, even though, you know, like I have fond memories of it, but it sucks that it is not really part of the mainline story. It's kind of like an alternate history.
Yeah.
But you add that up with also the fact that back in May, I think it was May, maybe it was March, it was announced that we're getting a new Macross anime, some new project.
Oh.
And it's not clear what exactly it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be produced by Sunrise.
What we doing?
Yeah, I would suspect.
Are we going back down the thread of Delta?
I would guess that it's more likely that it would be closer to Delta than original Macross because of how much money the movie made, the Delta whatever that movie was.
Valkyrie makes money.
Yeah, those one from 2021.
Yeah, them girls make them money. Have you seen those live shows? Those stadiums are packed.
I have. And I promise you, if it's anything like that, I'll just skip it like I did all the other shit. And Macross, to me, is still my favorite mecha series, but
I would say still watch the action scenes because I watched up to episode 14 of Delta. But I only watched it because I wanted to know where all the banger songs were coming from.
Right.
And I literally was just like, this is only worth it for the action scenes. I'm so sorry. Like, it really is. The action scenes were great and the music behind them was also really good. But as far as like the show itself, it was meh. It was very meh.
I watched Macross Delta and then like, I think I got like 5 episodes deep and I was like, oh, I can't do this.
I will say the movie though is really I see why it did well because I think the final action sequence was like 30 minutes long. Like it was long. Like them niggas was going at it, and the music remixes were good. Cool. The new music came in there. I was like, oh yeah, y'all dropped the entire budget on this shit, and then the ending was sad as fuck. Yeah. Oh wow! Even for someone who had skipped like the second core of it, I was like, I generally know what the fuck's going on, and the ending was sad. Like it was sad. but they followed through on the plot points and certain alien rules and things of that nature. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if they went the idol route again, but I just think it needs way more mecha.
If they like money, that's exactly what they should do. If they love me personally, they'll do like a Macross Zero level OVA. But they don't love me. They love money.
Well, maybe it's an OVA. Maybe it's not. Wait, you said it was a season. They said it was a season or just a project? It's just
a new animation project.
Okay, so maybe it could be a. Delta's finished, but that doesn't mean that they won't use elements of Delta's story. They're probably going to use elements of it because it definitely could still, because all of them exist in the same universe, don't they?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
But like I said, they hate me, so that's fine. I've accepted it already. I'm not upset. It's just I know it's. I'm happy. I'm happy it's still. I'm happy the franchise is still alive. One day, before I die, there will be another Macross project that will be produced for people like me who like the hard shit and not the idle shit. And I'm just waiting that day.
Got a fan out of me because of the idle shit.
That's fine. Look, that's okay. It's all the same. Listen, the hard mecha shit and the idle shit are the exact same level of shit. Okay, just which
you're
side?
You're not wrong.
Yes, whichever side of the coin you're on, we're all on the same level. So I'm just noting it for posterity, and we will see.
Speaking of hardcore mecha shit, where's that Mechaton Musashi video game? Because that shit looked good.
Isn't it out? I thought it already came out.
I thought it was out in Japan. Did it come out here?
I don't even remember.
It's like the compilation with like all the DLC. Megaton Musashi Wired.
Oh, that. Oh, I don't know. I don't know
when it's coming out. Speaking of mechas, that shit I definitely was in. Well, actually, you know what? Now that Armored Core 6 is on its way, I don't know if I'm gonna be even. Well, no, yeah, it's the anime aesthetic, so yeah. But
we'll see. Yeah, other mecha stuff. Bang Bravern is coming out. Cygames, same studio. I think the last.
I will say that looking at the promotional material for that, it looks like has more of like a serious tone. But Cygame stuff usually has way more color, and this is definitely more like gritty. So I'm interested to see where they're gonna take.
Yeah,
this.
I mean, it's the last thing they did was Princess Connect and Blade Runner Blackout. So the average between those shows aesthetically is, it's probably about normal. So that's all I really know. But I'm happy for more mecha stuff because I get like one series every maybe 2 seasons. So
God,
I hope this one is good.
Gacha. They're probably gonna make it a gacha game simultaneously, aren't they? No, original mecha anime. Okay, so it's not like a media project.
Yeah, as far as I know, it was original. But
okay,
that's it.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I always am down for more mecha.
Okay, well, I think that gets us to this week's question. And in light of the 2 very, very solid hype moments in shows this season that we cover, not excluding, of course, everything that's gone down in Vinland Saga, but I would like.
God, I'm so tired of the Vinland Saga. Blah blah blah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would like to know, what hype moment in anime do you come back to long after it has run its course, in the community? For me, probably once or twice every month, I wind up searching for and listening to Vegeta's Saiyan Pride speech from Dragon Ball Z Season 3, the Buu Saga, where he's been mind controlled and Babidi is like, kill Goku. And obviously, it's, if you know anything about Vegeta, killing Goku is his thing, right? Like, I gotta kill this man. Like, fuck this dude. Even though I'm a family man, fuck him. And his monologue where he he's fighting that control, and he's like, listen, I want to fight Goku too, but nobody tells me what the fuck to do, all right? And he does that, the one thing a Saiyan always keeps, and then he pauses, and he like screams, his pride! And it's just like, blow your eardrums out, and I don't know, something about that moment still sticks with me. I probably saw it for the first time, 20 years ago, or more, probably like 25 years ago. It don't matter. That gets me moving. That gets my blood moving when I see that shit. So, is there a moment, and it could be just hype for you, in anime that you go back to? Let us know.
Okay, well, I have like a million that I watch constantly on my phone, but I will say, I can tell y'all right now, it's Symphogear XV, and I know y'all are like, oh, Symphogear XV is really recent. Well, I've been watching Symphogear since it fucking premiered, okay? So, Symphogear XV, episode 8, when them bitches was fighting the baby fetus god monster in the air. And when I tell you, they gave you everything. They gave you titty docking into a super like mega laser.
Okay.
They gave you like mecha arms in midair, deflecting a laser. They gave you rapid fire laser. They gave you a girl slicing a piece of shit in half and in a millisecond getting her face fucking smashed in because she literally. Okay. Anyways, episode 8, Symphogear XV. You will know that it's near the end. It's literally leading up to the end of the episode. You will know the fight scene, but you will see it. The titty docking is just when they did the titty docking, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a really good fight scene. It's gonna be a really good fight scene, and I watch it regularly. I watch it on the subway at least once a week, commuting, because I do my commute by minutes. And it takes up about 5 to 6 minutes. So I'm like, oop, I'm going to watch this. And then we'll be a third of the way there. So, yeah, that. But I have plenty more. I'm going to think of some other ones that aren't Symphogear. And then I'll bring those for next week. But yeah, Symphogear episode 8, the end of the episode. You can see the titty docking is so cool.
Titty docking. No, there's one that doesn't count because it's a edit, but it's the Killer Bee Sasuke scene, but with the fight back audio.
Oh my god! A classic. Oh, I'm gonna watch that shit right tonight.
Oh man,
because he washed that nigga. He washed that nigga.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Anything with the fight back audio will get me.
It was so pleasing to read it in the manga when it dropped, yes. But then to watch it, and then for someone to put that over, it's just like, oh man, man.
Fight back, nigga.
Top tier internet, top tier internet moment.
Oh man, watching people get violated in anime is the greatest.
I love that the Mahito scene.
Yeah, of course. That was an instant classic right there.
Yeah, that's actually what got a lot of people to watch Jujutsu Kaisen.
I know. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, a man getting jumped. It's just
what's this show? Oh,
what is this, bro?
What is this? Yo, what is that?
Oh my god. It's good. Man. Crazy. But let us know. We'll get your blood pumping. It could even be, some rom-com stuff. If there's a moment for you, I'm interested. I want to know.
Yeah. Ooh, rom-com. Ooh, that scene in Toradora. Okay, anyways.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the end of this week, you guys. So we're on Blue Sky now. So if you have Blue Sky, go search. And we got Anime Savants on Blue Sky. We didn't get the anime -savants thing. So you can follow us on Blue Sky at Anime Savants, or you can follow us on Twitter, anime_savants, and then you can find us on YouTube, which YouTube now has a podcast playlist functionality. So every single episode since we started doing the video podcast is on YouTube in that playlist. So you don't have to search it individually. It's all laid out for you. It's all in the podcast playlist. And as they develop it for features beyond it, because they're probably going to try to start their own podcast platform or transfer those to Google Podcasts, you can find it there. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
You can hit me up on Twitter at Neural Handshake anytime. But please follow us on social media. Let us know. What are you thinking, guys? What are you thinking? We're planning some interesting stuff for the summer. Audience interaction, maybe some streaming. So just keep up with us. You'll find out what we're doing.
Yeah, we'll be on your timelines a lot in the coming weeks. So, if you want, you can put us on notifications also. That'll help so much. But yeah, thank y'all for much, and we will see y'all next time. Bye.
Peace out.